at the Harley-Davidson Museum in downtown Milwaukee. I am Jen Latta. Shaka Smart will be with us shortly, as will Stevie Mitchell, filling in for Tyler Kolek, who, as everybody knows, is dealing with a little oblique injury. Hope to have him back on the court very soon. 1 day removed from the final home game of the 2023-2024 season. Up, I hear an applause. I know what that means. That means head coach Shaka Smart is walking in. We are 1 day removed from that final home game of the season in front of a sell-out crowd. We will get to that as the show goes on as well, where the Golden Eagles were handed that 74-67 loss to the defending champs UConn. But before the tip, the program celebrated senior night, where Oso Ighodaro and Tyler Kolek were honored for their contributions and impact on this program and this community. Shaka, I want to start there. Before we get to the game, before we get to the X's and O's and everything else that went on, it was not your first senior night. It will not be your last senior night, but I'm always struck by how emotional those ceremonies are. So I'm curious how you compartmentalize while you are honoring those young men, knowing everything they've given to this program, and then go out there and play a hard-fought competitive basketball game.
Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. It's great to see everyone here. Last show of the year. It's amazing how fast everything goes, and it's been a fun year of radio shows here at the restaurant here at Motor. You know, the way that we compartmentalize it, honestly, is the night before we always have a dinner with our players and coaches, and we try to get a lot of our emotions out at that point. And usually it works pretty well, but there's always some kind of residual effects. What we do at the dinner is each player and coach has the opportunity, if they'd like to speak about the seniors. And we go one by one. So we went Tyler first and, you know, kind of went around. And not everybody has to say anything. It's completely optional. But, of course, a lot of people did. And it was about 2 hours of, you know, pretty good emotions, you know, between those two guys and all their teammates and their coaches. So that's a way that we kind of separate that out. And then the plan is, you know, when you get to the game, you know, you've kind of talked about how you feel about one another, and you can go play the game.
It is always tricky because it sort of feels like eulogizing the living, and yet you guys still have a lot of basketball left to play with this team. But you gave your team a message after the game about the best way to honor the seniors. What did you tell them?
Well, as I just said, I feel like over the years, as you said, the senior night is the last home game. But there's so many games left to play. So really the best way to honor your seniors, or to honor your team in general, is to put everything you have into controlling everything you can control throughout the remainder of the year. And, you know, for us, you know, we've had really big goals all season long that involve later on in this season. So that's really what it's about.
I'll give you a moment here on Marquette Thursdays at Motor Bar and Restaurant at the Harley-Davidson Museum to talk about Oso and Tyler individually. I know we only have an hour-long show, so you're going to have to be brief on this. But
yeah,
what are some of the things that stand out about those young men?
And I don't know if Scott told you, but Stevie's actually doing the second half of the show.
He did tell me. We're very excited about that.
I'm going to a local high school game to see maybe a future Golden Eagle. Not allowed to say his name because he hasn't signed with us yet, but so Stevie Mitchell, which kind of makes the most sense of anyone that he would kind of be bringing it home on the last show. But yeah, Tyler and Oso, you know, Rick Pitino called them Stockton and Malone, you know, about a month and a half ago, and I think he was talking somewhat facetiously after the game, but at the same time, there was a level of respect, you know, that he had for those two guys when he made that comment after, you know, they had played so well together at the Garden against his team. And, you know, I don't know. There's one other tandem of seniors that I've coached before that were in the same stratosphere in terms of how good they were as players. And unfortunately, in that case as well, one of them was hurt on his senior day. The difference was he had torn his ACL, so he was out for the entire year. And obviously, we're very, very excited about, you know, the chance for Tyler to come back relatively soon. Everyone keeps asking when that's going to be. I wish I knew for sure, but he's making progress every day. Just a group, those two guys, competitive character, something that comes to mind, extremely high, through the roof. If you were to rank the youngest, most naive freshman to the most seasoned, grizzled veteran that knows how to win, those guys are at or near the top. Tyler and Oso in their own ways. Oso is tied for the best leader of anyone I've ever coached because I think I've said this maybe on the show before, but he's the most selfless great player that I've ever coached. It's easy to be selfless when you're a walk-on or when you're an assistant coach or, some role where you're in a support role. But when you're dependent on to do all the things that he does and you're selfless, it's just really, really unique. The one thing, I said a lot at the senior dinner, but the last thing I said to him was, I wish you could see how bright your future is. Because I don't think he fully sees it. But that guy, he's going to have a very, very blessed life over the course of the next, dozens and dozens of years.
It has been an honor and a privilege to watch both of them grow in the program into remarkable young men. You mentioned Tyler. There is a lot of curiosity about his journey. You said he's progressing. We know he will not play on Saturday. How's he handling the situation?
Better than I thought he would, better than I would have. I remember when I was playing, at one point I got hit really bad in the arm, and they initially told me my arm was broken. And this was during the season, and I was in a bad place. I learned a day later that it wasn't broken. So I missed one practice, and I was back. Never missed a game. And like Tyler, basketball was really all that mattered to me. And so he's doing a good job. I think on the inside there's a little bit more going on in there than he shows. Last night was tough, just not being able to play and knowing that, that's about as big time of a basketball game in terms of like the two teams that are playing. Our crowd, our fans were awesome. That was such a fun environment. And so powerful. So for him to not be able to participate, and then the way that the game went, he's sitting there, I guarantee you he's feeling like, man, I could make a big difference in this game if I was in the game on both ends of the floor. But he's doing well. I think what's helping him is he's feeling a little bit better each day. Today he was on the court, and he's trying to shoot the ball. He was shooting the ball, not from way out, but so he's making progress from where he was initially. When he first got hurt, it hurt to breathe or even get up from a chair. So he's making progress. But, not planning on him playing Saturday, and we'll evaluate him as we move closer to Thursday of next week and see where he's at.
We'll talk a little bit as the show goes on about that Xavier game and what the implications are for the outcome of that game for Marquette in the Big East tournament. But let's talk about that UConn game last night. You mentioned the arena. You mentioned the crowd. We will get to that because I believe you all set a record for season attendance, and I know that you are very appreciative for the support the fans have given you guys. In what way – that's right, that's you guys. In what way was your team better last night against UConn than they were the first time around this season?
Well, I think it's hard to compare the games just because one was at home and one was on the road. But overall, we started the game better. I think we had better fight throughout the game, but there was a stretch in the first half where we just kind of let the game get away from us, and that ended up being the discrepancy in the game. We outscored them, I guess, if you will, for the other parts of the game, but that's not how basketball works. You had the 40 minutes together. What I told the guys today, we had a very good heart-to-heart conversation as a group. We talked about a lot of things, but as it related to the game, you guys know I'm big on deflections. Fascinating. For the first 6 minutes and 50 seconds of the game, we had 12 deflections. So that's 12 deflections in less than 7 minutes. That's a heck of a pace. We were winning the game at that point 12-5. As you guys remember, they got up 5-0, and then we scored 12 consecutive points. After that point, they went on a run. I don't remember the exact score. But
I got 37-19. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right. During that run, we had one deflection. and it was about 13 minutes, a little over 12 minutes, 12:45. And so I told the guys, I said, hey, guys, I'm not Nostradamus. And then I said, wait a minute, do you guys know who Nostradamus is? And none of them did, so I had to explain it. But I said, I've been doing this a while, guys. I told you guys before the game that our deflections are going to correlate with not only defensive activity, not only disruptiveness, not only turnovers for the other team, but everything that we're trying to do on the offensive end and during the game. And lo and behold, it did. We actually had a really good deflection night overall, but during that particular run that we're talking about, we didn't get our hands on the basketball, and UConn was able to really get going, transition, making threes, offensive rebounding, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
And you put a premium on passing. You and I have talked about that a number of times. Obviously, passing, moving the ball around, that can lead to assists. I noticed a real low number, 8 assists last night. I think y'all had 7 assists in the previous loss, and it does seem like there's a correlation to the number of assists and your team's ability to walk away with the W. What conversations do you guys have about that?
Well, assists are really, really important, but they also, you're not going to have the same number of assists against different opponents just depending on how much they help. And, you're taking literally, I believe he's the leading assist man in the country.
Sure.
Out
for
of
these
the lineup.
last 2
so
games.
That impacts the assists.
Right.
For sure. But I would say that I think it's more about, to use what you originally brought up, ball movement. Assists and ball movements is not the same thing. They're related, but we need to move the ball better than we did. I think our guys really wanted to take it upon themselves to go make a play. Oso, Cam, Stevie. In some cases that worked out for us. In other cases it didn't.
Cam Spencer got teed up with just under 8 minutes to play, and then you were able to hold UConn to just 4 points for the rest of the game. What was the biggest difference there late in the contest?
Well, I think that, first of all, he's a competitor. I mean, I got a lot of our guys could have got that same technical in other games. So, it's amazing how people love to hate the guy on the other team that you would love if he was on your team.
Right. I'm sure there are similarities between Cam and Tyler.
Cam, Tyler, Stevie, other guys that we've had. There's a guy that I coached at Texas named Brock Cunningham. And he's in, Maya's like 6th or 7th year. He's like 25 years old. He's in his last year. And he is the prototypical, the opponents hate him. I mean,
agitator?
He got kicked out of a game the other day. And the fans, and but you love having those guys on your team. I was telling somebody, I would take that guy right now. It's kind of like Bill Laimbeer back in the day for the Pistons. Bucks fans probably don't like him, but they're winners, and Cam Spencer's a winner. I thought our guys, though it did motivate our guys, there's definitely with UConn, I mean, they've won 5 national championships in the last 20, 25 years. There's definitely an aura that they have about them, and our guys certainly last year and ever since I've been here, they noticed that, they understand that, and they're also one of the best, if not the best team in the country this year. And so, it's an exciting challenge that we had. Obviously, nobody feels worse about losing than the guys in our locker room. And all we can do is, pour into each other to try to be better the next time.
Last thing I have for you before we take a break here on the Marquette Thursdays final show of the season was the similarities I noticed between the 2 programs. First of all, there was compliments flying back and forth between you for UConn, Bobby Hurley, good grief, Danny Hurley talking about how great and how much he appreciated your program. I also noticed on the shot selection, they're very, they prioritize the perimeter, they prioritize the inside just like you guys do. Are you seeing similarities from a culture standpoint between what you guys are doing and what UConn is trying to do?
Well, it's more similarities between teams trying to be great. Because it takes what it takes. And so we're not doing what we do by accident, and they're not doing what they do by accident. The shot selection thing, those are the shots that lead to more efficient offense. It doesn't matter what team you have. So, they do it, we do it. And, Creighton, similar. Creighton actually does it better than anyone in the country. They have the best shot diet, if you will. Literally, they're number one in the country with it. So it's definitely a similarity of teams trying to be great. I think culturally, and I said this last night, I think that everyone kind of has their own brand and their own way. And hopefully ours fits with Marquette. And, they have their way. But I do think the way that they act, interact, and respond as a team together, it's a big part of why they win. And I think there's definitely a lot to take from that. And, you have to, if you beat someone and you don't appreciate them, then maybe that says less about your win. If you lose to someone and you say, wow, they were lucky, or they're no good, or they did this, or you talk negatively about them, well, what does that say about you then? And the reality is we're in a league with a lot of really good teams and great coaches, and it definitely gives us an opportunity to test ourselves to be better.
Much more to come here on Marquette Thursdays live from Motor Bar and Restaurant at the Harley-Davidson Museum. But first, I want to tell you guys, don't wreck a great time at the game. The Marquette Golden Eagles remind you to drive sober or get pulled over. Visit zeroinwisconsin.gov to learn more. Zero in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Wisconsin DOT. One more segment with the head coach of your Marquette Golden Eagles before we let him go off and do some recruiting for the next generation of Marquette Golden Eagles. We'll be right back after this. p.m. Enjoy great food and drink specials all night long. This is our final Marquette Thursday of the season. Hope you enjoyed hearing from Coach Smart and the Marquette players throughout the season. Thank you so much to Motor Bar and Restaurant for being our hosts all season long.
What a great host.
They have been fantastic. Great vibe here, and look at all the people who are enjoying their meals and their beverages.
Don't you all feel like we should keep the show at Motor? Brad, did you hear that?
He knows. We talked a little bit about the attendance, and Wednesday night's attendance mark of 17,837 pushed Marquette's season-long home attendance average to 16,307 per game. That's a new record, beating 2007, 2008. I know that you take great pride in the home court advantage that Fiserv Forum provides, but you can't do it without these fine people. Just how much do you appreciate how loud they get, how they're there every game, and how they did it to the tune of a record this season?
You can't put it into words how grateful we are as coaches, players, and to set the record. I mean, you think about all the great teams over the years at Marquette. I definitely want to, make special mention of Coach Tom Crean because when he got here, he did a phenomenal job of, re-energizing a lot of folks. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but the attendance skyrocketed, culminating in what was the record until we just broke the record. And, for our guys, I told the guys today, and, this is good perspective for them coming off of, losing a game. I showed them a picture or a video of our student section right before the opening tip. And it was just about a 10-second video, but it had the volume. You could see the whole crowd, and it was taken from the vantage point of at the very back of the student section. It's a phenomenal video. Be good for recruiting. And I said, guys, you don't understand that 99.9% of college basketball players never get to experience this, and this is your home court. And we just played our last, home game of the season, but let's just take a moment to have a level of appreciation for that. And so, I thought when we went on that 12-0 run, I mean, that was as loud as I've heard it in there. I wish we could have got a few more stops in the second half to make that game a little bit more interesting because I think the roof would have come off of Fiserv. But, just grateful for our fans that have supported us all year long. Thank you to all of our season ticket holders, our students, all of our first-time fans. A lot of people, for the first time decided, let me go check out Marquette and, hopefully had a great experience. So it's something we want to build on. And, part of the reason is, and Stevie's here making his way around, this is part of why we operate our program the way we do. If you bring in like a whole new team every year, then as fans, you're like, well, who are these guys, But you guys know Stevie Mitchell. You know him. And he's going to be here. He's going to be here 4 years. And you're going to get a chance to – you are already getting a chance to watch him grow up and evolve. And a year from now will be his senior night. And that, again, that's part of why we do things the way we do. We think that it's better for our program. It's better for our fans. And as I've always said, I truly appreciate the relationship between the guys on the court and everyone in the building. And I think that is worth 6, 8, 10 points alone.
It's a hot ticket when you've got a couple of NFL head coaches in the crowd. We saw Matt Eberflus, the Chicago Bears coach, and, of course, Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers head coach. And I heard you got to talk to LaFleur. What did you guys talk about?
Well, it's funny. How I wear the undershirt? Mm-hmm. So I did not have my polo on. I just had and the undershirt is very tight. It's very tight. And so I'm in the locker room and I'm writing on our whiteboard because the guys are about to come in, for us to do our talk. And Matt LaFleur walks in, but he's got a bunch of people with him. The Bergstroms are with him and a bunch of kids. And so I said, I'm sorry that I'm dressed like this. But it was good to talk to them and hang out with them for a little while. We had gone up to their practice when we did our retreat, and he was really, really kind. He actually let me talk to their team, which was cool. I wish he would have come in 5 minutes later because I would have let him give the pregame talk, and then maybe we would have won the game if we did that. But next time I talk to him, I'll have to give him a hard time because we won when Jordan Love came to the game. But he's an awesome guy, and I think with Wisconsin sports, it's very unique, especially he's at the pro level, but the Wisconsin sports teams really support one another, and I think that's unique. I don't think you have that so much in other areas.
So that's a great segue into this next question that I have, which is that you have been known to take inspiration from other successful head coaches. I've heard about this thing called the Belichick videos. What role do they play in your program? What are they, first of all?
Well, I steal a lot from Coach Saban, and somewhere along the line, I realized that Bill Belichick kind of taught a lot of Coach Saban what he knows. So I started following him to some extent. Although he's not as interesting to me, he's a little more dry. But obviously, great coach, great winner, and so he has this great video from way back. I think it's one of his first championship teams with the Patriots, and he's talking to those guys in the film room about their enthusiasm for winning plays. And he's showing them a video of a game where they're making some good plays, but there's a lack of enthusiasm. Like they're just not – he says, well, it doesn't seem to register. And then he shows them the opposite. He shows them a Monday Night Football game where I think they beat the Broncos, and they were just so fired up and so into winning and a passion for everything that they were trying to do and for each other. And then he showed the reaction of the Broncos players based on how the Patriots were. And he's like, that's when we know we got them. And so I stole that, and I do that with our guys periodically because I truly believe, first and foremost, these guys are human beings, so they're not going to be the same every single day. And it's on us to make sure that we help them understand. When you have an enthusiasm and a passion for something good that just happened, let alone, trying to correct something bad, but like something good, then more good things are more likely to happen. So it requires a clarity of mind and scrubbing some of the other stuff off of there. But that's the Belichick videos. You've been doing your research, Jen.
I appreciate that. We do want to be conscious of your time. You have to go in just a few moments. But before we let you go, just some information. Did your team have the flu? How many guys were sick for the Creighton game? Because I guess there was some video of one of them vomiting behind the bench. We know Oso was out, and then I believe Chase was sick this week. Has it been running through your team?
Yeah, the Creighton game was it was just unique circumstances. Obviously, the game after Tyler got hurt, we knew that he would be out, once he got hurt. But then, as you mentioned, when you're on a college campus, there's bugs that go around all the time. And a lot of times I've learned over the years it's just a matter of good timing or bad timing. And it just so happened on that game it was bad timing. So Oso was sick as a dog the day before. He felt like, okay, if I don't – he wanted to practice. They wouldn't let him practice. I think I'll be better tomorrow to play. Well, he woke up the next day, the day of the Creighton game, and he was even worse. I mean, he was shivering. He couldn't even leave the hotel. Then Chase Ross had the same thing, but he was probably like a day behind Oso. He tried to play. He did play in the Creighton game. Wasn't really his same self. And as you know, when you try to really exert yourself when you're not feeling well, it can set you back a little bit. So then he experienced his worst days on Sunday and Monday, didn't practice Monday, came back, tried to practice on Tuesday, wasn't quite where we wanted him to be, played yesterday, wasn't himself in the game. That's why Chase didn't play quite as much as we would normally play him. And then, as you mentioned, Trey, during the game, and I don't know if it was the flu or some nerves or a combination of both, this is the third player I've coached that this has happened to. He's in the game, and then he tells the ref, hold on a second, and he comes over to the bench and vomits. And so, sorry for everyone that's eating. But it was and so we're trying to, sub guys, and but there's really nobody to sub because we got a lot of people. But, the other team's not going to feel sorry for you. You just got to find a way. And I also think that these are experiences, win or lose, that can help you later on.
We have so appreciated having the show with Shaka Smart. He's got to get going off to a recruit. But, Coach, brilliant stuff, inspirational stuff, always insightful stuff. Thanks for sharing your time with us this
Thank
season.
you, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
We're going to take a break here, and we're going to put Stevie Mitchell on the hot seat. I'm sure he'd rather hang out with the folks out there than come over here and chat with me for the next 30 minutes, but neither here nor there. I want to tell you guys that the future of Marquette basketball is bright. As you well know, secure your seat for the biggest games and moments next season with a 2024-2025 new season ticket deposit. Make memories, entertain, and enjoy some of the best basketball in the country on game days at Fiserv Forum at the lowest prices. Place your deposit at gomarquette.com/tickets or email athletics@marquette.edu for more information. Back with Stevie Mitchell right after this. Interview is brought to you by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, the official banking partner of Marquette University and home to Marquette Checking with free ATMs nationwide.
Stone away by Stevie Mitchell. He'll go to the basket and lay it up and into the left hand after pulling it Tony Smith by going right in. Marquette's lead down to 4. Mitchell on a drive to the basket, lays it up and in. Counted in a foul. He had to put the extra spin as he was directly under the rim. Mitchell knocked the ball away and made a steal. Bediako against him. Mitchell lays it up and in. Kolek on a drive under the basket, double teamed in the corner. Mitchell wide open 3. Good. Oh, baby, is that huge?
We are so fortunate to be joined by Stevie Mitchell now. He's going to carry the rest of the show. You're going to carry the show for us, right? Did he tell you you're carrying the show the rest of the way? Look, they've got all kinds of faith in you. Great to have Stevie Mitchell here, our junior guard from Pennsylvania. So last night was senior night. You scored the first bucket for Marquette of the night. Let's just get right into the vibe last night because everyone was calling the Marquette-UConn game the game of the week. 2 of the top teams in the country going at it, a rematch of sorts. I know y'all were without Tyler Kolek, but what was the vibe at Fiserv Forum for that game?
I think first and foremost the vibe was kind of just like emotional just because, you know, seniors, Tyler and Oso, how much, you know, the relationships we built with them, how much they mean to everybody in the program, how much we mean to them. So I think, you know, just the night before we had a senior dinner with them and kind of just talked about our experiences and just getting to know them. And then the night of the game, you know, we just wanted to, you know, go out there and give it our all for them. Tyler obviously couldn't play, and obviously everybody knows how much of a part of our team Tyler is. But, you know, Oso was on the court, so we just went out there, tried to pour into him. And, you know, the result didn't turn out how we wanted to, but we talked, and, you know, the most important thing about, or the best way to honor our seniors is with the rest of the season and just everything ahead. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Stevie Mitchell, who averages 25 minutes per game, but last night played how many? How many minutes?
A lot.
39? 39 minutes last night? An absolutely impressive performance by you. Did you know that going in? Did Coach say to you, we're going to have to lean on you pretty heavily in this one? Did you know that that's how it was going to shake out?
Nah, I just went in the game and, you know, was focused on pouring in to Oso and then just playing for TK and playing for Oso and playing for the rest of my teammates. It just so happened that I just, you know, I kept looking, thinking I was about to come out, but
me? No, okay.
But nobody ever did, which I was fine with. Obviously, it was pretty tiring. Actually, when I got home, I have this like I went laid on my bed and the light was on, but I have this like eye mask that was right by my bed. So instead of getting up to turn the light off, I just put the eye mask on and went to sleep.
We get it. Totally deserved after that performance last night. You also tied a career high with 9 rebounds, including a game-best 5 offensive boards. I want to talk about the rebounding because obviously UConn has a height advantage on you guys, and yet it does feel like an area that this team could get better at. What is the goal going forward as far as trying to capitalize on some of those second chance opportunities?
I think for us, it's just comes down to like toughness and just stepping up our level of toughness. Just each and every one. Tyler's out, and he's our toughest player. Just how hard he plays, how aggressive he is, how physical he is. So, you know, just stepping up in that, and then when he comes back, obviously being able to add, you know, his toughness to, you know, our toughness, and just using that as an advantage. Whereas UConn probably got the best of us on the toughness side of things last night. So I think kind of just learning from that and learning where we're susceptible to being beat and just using that to grow and get better and turn into strength is what we're looking forward to continue to do.
Stevie Mitchell hanging out with us here at Motor Bar and Restaurant for Marquette Thursdays. We know you dealt with the hamstring injury in the middle of the season. We're out for some of the games. But it seemed like yesterday you were ailing as well. What were you dealing with yesterday? Eagle-eyed Marquette fans noticed you weren't your normal Stevie Mitchell.
I mean, at this time of the year, everybody's dealing with something. For me, I think it was Xavier. I had fell on my hand and like my wrist kind of, you know, got tweaked a little bit. And before the game, actually, I had so it was like it was all right. It was doing a lot better. Obviously, Kenny, our athletic trainer, has been putting in a lot of time and effort into helping us with, you know, all the injuries that have just come upon our team this year. So huge shout out to Kenny. We would not be where we are or getting past hard like we have been without him. He's been really, you know, putting in a lot of time and a lot of care to helping us get better and helping us be able to play. So, yeah.
But before the game, something happened?
Yeah, before the game, I actually, I shook somebody's hand, and it was probably the most firm handshake that I've that I've ever like experienced, and like it just kind of tweaked it a little bit and made it a little uncomfortable. So that kind of, going into the game was like, oh my goodness, just unfortunate things just seem to keep building up against our team and in the injury column. So, but just not. I mean, it wasn't anything. It didn't impact the outcome of the game. It wasn't anything that I shouldn't have played with. It was just just another little tweak. It wasn't anything huge, but it's just unfortunate. And I think we still could have won the game. We just didn't make enough plays, and I think the next time we play them, we will. So I'm excited for that opportunity.
To Marquette fans or whomever it was, can we be gentle with the handshakes? We're not trying to prove anything here, right? We don't want to hurt a guy as he tries to wrap up the season.
No, it was my fault. I should have probably went in for it because it had already been a little tender before that, so I probably should have just went in for the,
just like this,
the fist bump.
Yeah, exactly. Give a little fist bump. Just a head nod, too. A head nod will work in these types of situations. There were more than 30 NBA scouts from 19 different teams that requested credentials to attend Wednesday's game. How aware are you and your teammates of those details, and what do you think it says about the program that you have so many people at the next level interested in you and UConn?
I had no idea until you told me that. I'm not sure if that was the same for my teammates, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's just speaks volumes to the work that both teams have put in to get to where both teams are at now. And I think, it's just one game, and moving forward, I'm a big believer, just like, you're only as good as your last game. So moving forward, just continue to build, continue to get better. People are only going to remember the last game we play, in which we're hoping is the national championship.
We got to take a break here on Marquette Thursdays, but we have so much more time with Stevie Mitchell this evening. So we're going to take advantage of that. After this, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel with deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, and nightly live music. You'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more at stkatearts.com. That's stkatearts.com. More with Stevie Mitchell right after this on Marquette Thursdays. Marquette fans, Buffalo Wild Wings is the official viewing party location for Marquette road games this season. The next watch party will be Saturday, March 9th at the Pewaukee Buffalo Wild Wings. The Marquette watch parties will continue for all Big East and NCAA tournament games. Check out the Golden Eagles watch party schedule at gomarquette.com/BWW for upcoming locations. The first Big East tournament game will be at the Oak Creek location on March 14th. Mark your calendars. Let's go Sports Bar. So lucky to be joined by Stevie Mitchell here on Marquette Thursdays live from Motor Bar and Restaurant at the Harley-Davidson Museum. Stevie wants to give us a big announcement here. What do you got, Stevie?
I just want to give a special shout out. Happy birthday, Fran Kikowski. I hope you're having a great day. And I hope, life continues to be special.
She's a huge Marquette fan. Her daughter Cheryl attended Marquette as well. Happy birthday to Fran. Is Fran with us?
Yeah.
Fran, I didn't know you were here. Happy birthday to you. Just thought you were listening out there somewhere in the world. All right, speaking of listening, I was listening to the post-game reaction from Shaka Smart yesterday responding to the Marquette loss to UConn. And Shaka Smart had this to say when asked about one Stevie Mitchell. Take a listen.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's the guy that if everyone had his level of fight, then we would never lose. But there's only one of him. And, defensively, this was one of those games where you'd like to have Stevie on Newton, you'd like to have Stevie on Spencer, you'd like to have Stevie on Castle, and he's only one person, so you can't put him on all those different guys.
High praise from the head coach of the Marquette basketball team. You work so hard, Stevie. How does hearing that make you feel?
It makes me feel, really good, especially because, I just tend to, all my teammates, we all tend to, be hard on ourselves. So, it's hard to, see, good when you lose the game because it feels like obviously you didn't do something good enough or something right. But having the relationship with Coach Smart and him telling us and encouraging us and, just letting us know that he believes in us just means a lot because it's playing in front of all of these every Marquette fan and not being able to get it done, you're just going to feel some type of way after the game. But, we know that the most important game is the next game and just keep moving forward and we're going to figure everything out.
What has surprised you most about Coach Smart?
Surprised me most? I would say probably just how he's I've never met anybody like him, and he's himself every day, which is crazy because he has so much energy and expresses so much energy, and he's like that every day. And it seems like it's so hard to sustain, but he sustains it every day. And he texts us every morning with excerpts that he's read over the years, and just that little stuff is just crazy to me because you'll get the text at 5 a.m. and you're just I just saw you leaving the gym at 9 p.m. So it's just crazy how hard he works and just how consistent he is with his energy, and he really practices what he preaches, which is also really cool and really good role model to look up to.
All right, before we let you go, I want to talk about this campaign, which everyone in this room is behind, which is to get Stevie Mitchell the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East. You feel like you're deserving of that distinction?
I feel like I work hard, and I feel like we have a good defense as a team. But that's never been our main goal, and my main goal even is just been to win. So I think if that happens, if it doesn't happen, our main goal of winning the Big East tournament championship and the national championship are still ahead of us. So that's something to look forward to, and that's not something that can be taken away by any award. Whoever gets an award, that's something we can go earn, and I believe we have everybody players-wise and coaches-wise that we need to go earn that. So that's my biggest thing that I'm looking forward to, and the biggest, accolade or achievement that I would want.
Yeah, coaches talked about how when the team wins, you start to sort of see those trophies and those accolades be spread around to the guys who have made the winning possible. If you're wondering why Stevie is so good at this whole talking thing, it's because you're a communications major and you have your own podcast. We have talked about this before.
I'm not a communications major.
You're not. Oh, you're not a communications. Is Cam the communications major?
Yeah.
What are you working in?
I double major in finance and information systems.
Oh my goodness! What an egregious mistake on my part.
Shout out Greg Hill. Business law.
And while we're at it then, let me just take a moment to remind everybody that you are one of the 4.0 students at Marquette. Now, if that's not true, don't tell us. Let's just roll with it. But you do the podcast with Cam, and you guys are really good at it. You had Shaka as your guest on one of the last episodes. I think you called it the Shaka-sode, which was so good. He was very vulnerable and revealing in that space as well. Yeah. Why do you do it? You've got so many things on your plate. We just talked about the double major. You're a 4.0 student, straight A's last time I checked, and yet you still choose to do this podcast with your pal.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. We've had 4 episodes so far. We had first we had Tyler Noso on. Then it was just me and Cam just talking about ourselves. Then we had the freshman. Then we had Coach Smart. And each episode has been just a lot of fun. Not only with Cam, because Cam's Cam's Cam. He's one of the best people to be around that I could even imagine. So just being around him and recording the podcast with him is a lot of fun. But then getting to learn a lot of new stuff about our guests. Like even last episode, I know Coach Smart for 3 years now, and we learned a lot about him. He told us, he opened up about a highlight tape that he had that his college buddy made him. So we've kind of been, keep asking about that, asking when we're going to get to see that. I think it's going to be a watch party of that. It's going to be a team activity soon. But I think, just getting to learn about people and just, getting to spend time with Cam and as well as the rest of our team, a part of the podcast. They put in a lot of effort and a lot of work, and they have a lot of other things going on too, but they still take times out of their days and their busy schedules to help and, be main contributors to the podcast. It would literally be impossible without them. So I think, we do the fun part, getting to talk, getting to just have fun, getting everybody to see the K1 and Stewie show. But, just being able to work with all of our team members and get to know them, it's been great because, they go to Marquette too, so we always see them around campus, and it's always, it's always a smile. It's always a good time whenever we get to run into them or when we're, just setting up to record, when we're texting in our group chat, whatever it may be. So I think it's just been a lot of fun and a lot of, relationships that have got stronger and have formed. So, yeah, that's probably the biggest reason.
If you weren't sure what a great teammate Stevie is, he just complimented all of the people who do the podcast with him and Cam. So again,
you should see how talented they are.
And listen, we appreciate that. You can listen to the K1 and Stewie show on Spotify. I highly encourage you to do so. We have to take a break. We're going to come right back with you. You're going to give us the scouting report on the Xavier game this weekend right after this on Marquette Thursdays live from Motor Bar and Restaurant. Xavier, joined by Stevie Mitchell. Stevie, what will be the keys to a victory on Saturday?
I think the keys to a victory at Xavier will be going in there and sticking to what we do, playing our way, and continue to play and learn how to play without TK. Obviously, he's been a big part of our offense and our defense and our leadership. So just continue to play with each other. Play off of each other more, pass to each other, cut. Just get to multiple actions, and then defensively, obviously, multiple efforts, deflections, violence, our core values defensively. And I think, that should get it done. Our senior night kind of got ruined a little bit, so it's our chance to go in there and ruin theirs. So we're looking forward to that.
What goes around comes around, huh?
Yeah.
Marquette will be playing with an eye on locking up the 2 seed in the conference tournament. Tip-off on Saturday is scheduled for 4 p.m. Central. Big thank you to Stevie Mitchell for holding it down for the second half of today's show. It has been a privilege and an honor to do the show here with all of you guys every single Thursday during this Marquette basketball season. We are all crossing our fingers for a very deep run in the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament. Go Marquette. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next year.